speaking, I'll give it a little bit of waiting time just to have a few people roll in. Normally it's a bit odd to see who actually does come in, because it either tends to be fans of the content creator or, I don't know, any early showers per se.
But it's kind of funny to me though, because normally, ever since like last year, I would be the one doing a lot of interviews to people. So this is actually the second time that I'm getting asked for an interview, surprisingly. So it's always exciting. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, interviews I find, let's see, it used to be my job for a while, pretty much, just going around interviewing people. That was back on radio. It's just that, well, can't exactly stop in at a studio these days, yeah. Pretty much, just gotta make do instead. And sometimes that's a bit... you find an odd crowd among VTubers, is what I'll say.
Yeah. I should ping this on my Discord, actually.
Yeah, sure, go for it. I'll ask though, have you had particularly much interaction with VTubers in past?
Honestly, no. Because, well, see, here's the thing, right? With me particularly, and like my line of work and a lot of things that I do, it's the fact of the matter is a lot of people always ask me, hey, Arcy, when are you gonna be a VTuber or like do all that stuff, right? Because I do have a lot of like live 2D that I have made with my friends and things like that. So it's kind of like, yeah, people see the live 2D and be like, dude, Arcy, you're like one step. You're literally one step away from being a VTuber. Why are you not being a VTuber?
Yeah, I was somewhat curious about that as well. I was like, Arcy would probably make a good VTuber. They've already got plenty of live 2D stuff
Here's the thing,
around.
Right? When it comes to the whole VTubing and everything, I understand the whole rigging thing, and I understand like it's the trend and everything. But at the end of the day, how I feel about it is that I want to be what I am, right? I feel like every time I get asked a VTuber question, I feel like, sure, there are VTubers that are quote unquote themselves and everything like that, but like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not entirely candid to you presenting who you are or being who you really are, you know, like behind that. It feels like there's just that some small tangible and or intangible things that you don't really get through interactions with a quote unquote VTuber, right? As opposed to like, say, if I were to be like one of those streamers and I just like put my webcam up or something, it feels, there's that human connection, which I feel like is a very important thing. And it's something I personally value as a person. So that's kind of like the reason that I don't really get into the whole VTuber thing. And of course, this is not like talking down to or like talking like trash or like trying to offend any VTubers or anything. Because I understand how it is, right? You sometimes play a character, you play a lot of things, and it leaves a lot to the imagination. But this is just a personal thing for me, where if I were to choose, I would rather be candid and just be really, really myself.
Fair enough, fair enough. I can get on board with that, anyhow. Yeah, in my case, I just wanted a design to show off, and that was about it. So, for the most part, you were just getting myself as an interviewer.
Dude, I would... That's such a good point. Like, sometimes you just want to show off your designs, right? So, that's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I do, but I also don't.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyhow, let's say you've had a few people roll in already.
Yeah, I just pinged on my Discord for a little bit. I was like, yeah, you know, so like, I got kept hostage now by a VTuber. And the people are commenting like, Arcy, if you need help, please like blink twice.
Blink twice, this one says. Okay, okay. We are more or less an audio medium as far as I'm concerned, so good luck with the blinking. Unless you can make an audible blink, which is a bit, Hey.
Good enough.
Close enough, close enough. You already have one person in chat saying they'll save you.
Not sure if that's a good idea, but sure. I appreciate the sentiment very much.
Alright then. Let's see. 5 minutes in. May as well get started then, shall we?
Shoot.
Alright then. First things first, well, introduce yourself.
So, I guess I'll just say my tagline, right? Because I just want to say good morning to every single person here watching this or the VOD later on. My name is Azelyra, and I am a PSO2 content creator, a hobbyist, character designer, musician, yada yada, so many random things that you can probably find on my like Twitter feed and whatnot. So, yeah, I guess mostly I just call myself a hobbyist because I do find myself to be just like enjoying myself doing a lot of the things I do, right? I have these hobbies, I have those hobbies, and they kind of just like jumble together and everything. While a lot of people might think that I'm like, oh, Arcy is the PSO2 YouTuber and everything, right? But that is kind of just like an extension of the hobby that I do. So yeah, that's kind of like how I look at it. I don't really find myself as a fully fledged content creator as of now, but more just as a hobbyist.
That's a fair enough sentiment to have, I'll say. I will have to mention, you have been a content creator for a very long time, actually since the first time I looked up PSO2, which was way back in, I'd like to say about 2012, 2014, around that time. First thing I looked up for PSO2, and you were among the only English content creators out there, so I was like, damn. Alright. But yeah, that introduction is very interesting, because most of the people I get up on here are either saying, oh, I'm a music producer, or oh, I'm a artist, or VTuber, or variety streamer, for the most part. So to have someone come up and say that they are a hobbyist, then rattle off a whole bunch of random extra talents, I'm just like, I remember Arcy for PSO2. I vaguely remember Arcy for art and for music at some point as well. So I'm just like,
Here's the thing, right? Under the umbrella of like the quote-unquote professional side of it, I would probably consider myself as a media content creator. I think that's probably the best umbrella.
Media content creator. Yeah, that's a fair enough title to have, I'll say. Because, yeah, considering all the content that you're capable of, I'll say, nice, man, nice. It was particularly surprising for me when I saw you come out with the cover for that one PSO2 song.
The Rose Confession cover, do you like that?
Rose Confession was really nice. I was like, Wait, this was done by Arcy? Wait, hold up.
Yeah, that was actually my first musical project I ever posted on YouTube, right? Because I always told my viewers and everything that, you know, I am a musician, also IRL, right? Because my family works in I can't even speak. My family works in the entertainment industry. And then, you know, doing music and stuff has always been something that I've been doing since a very long time. But I just never showed it until then, which one of the biggest reasons why I did it was because it's the PSO2 send-off, right? And also around that time is when PSO2 had their orchestra concert. So I wanted to do that for Mr. Kobayashi, which is the producer and the music like director, writer of all the Phantasy Star songs since like 20 years ago. And then he also recognized the track and he was like, man, that's really good. And I got to have a really nice conversation with him about the whole thing. Okay. And it's just, it's great. It's been great.
Because yeah, that was, let's see, I remember PD being one of the particular fights that stood out for me when I first started PSO2. Just a case of, holy hell, this actually feels like an urgent. And then when that song plays at the end, I'm just like, yeah, damn. All right, that was worth it. That was worth it.
Yeah, there's that sense of like gratification and it just feels, very nice.
Yeah, let's shift on to one of the first questions of this interview. So, why PSO2 specifically? What got you into it?
I feel like I saw this question from a mile away. Trust me. A lot of people always ask me as well, like, Arcy, why do you play PSO2, right? And then I'll tell you this much. PSO2 is literally like my first proper real online game. Period.
Oh my.
Because I'm born as in an Asian family, right? And a musical one at that. I've been forced to practice piano and just play instruments and all that stuff since I was basically 2 years old.
Oh damn. All right.
I never really had like, a childhood or anything, so to say. As in like a lot of people would be like, "Hey man, like I remember playing Pokemon from like way back then," or like I remember having a Game Boy or Nintendo Switch, or like, well, okay, Switch is like new, but Nintendo DS, sorry. But I never had any of that. I never had any PlayStations. I never had any Xbox. I never had anything. So like my life was all, okay, wake up 5 a.m., go to school, finish all club activities at like 5 p.m., and then come back home, eat a little bit, and then just practice music until like 10 p.m. and then just get sleeping. So that's basically my entire life for the past, like, how far do I even say? Up until around grade 8, I would say.
Oh my. Yeah, that does sound like quite the while.
Yeah, so that's like, a very Asian thing, right? Because if you know anything about the whole Asian stereotype, they're not kidding.
No,
they're not
really...
kidding when they say like, dude, Asian kids, they go hard. They do.
Yeah, they weren't kidding. I was learning piano by 5 pretty much, and yeah. Oh man. I still have a piano next to me, but anyway.
Yeah.
So where does PSO2 come in?
Right? Eventually, why I said grade 8 specifically was because I got in a really, really bad accident that I had to stay in hospital for 8 months.
Oh, man.
I broke my leg really, really bad.
Oh, shite. Broken leg.
Yeah. But then, yeah, nowadays I'm pretty much like perfectly okay now, so that's perfectly fine, right? No need to worry about that. But the thing is, like, we go back there and it's like, yeah, I was stuck in a hospital bed for literally 8 months. What do I do? And that's the first moment when I picked up gaming for the very first time.
Oh.
On my mom's laptop.
Whoa. Okay.
So yeah, because through that, I had like some online, Flash Java games and stuff like that. And I made friends with some people, which is very, very cool, by the way. And from that, it's like the game that we played, the Java game that we played kind of like started dying. And so those guys were like, dude, we need to find a new game. And this was in 2012. And then they were like, yo, let's look at like, a list of online MMORPGs that are releasing. And then Phantasy Star Online 2 was in the list. Oh. And then those guys used to play the old original like Dreamcast Phantasy Star Online.
Oh man.
And then they were like, damn, but it's only releasing in Japan. And then they kind of like stared at me and be like, you know Japanese, you can translate for this. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm getting dragged over. And that's basically how I started PSO2, and I never quit. And we're here now today. So
wow. Yes.
I still play the game with those friends, by the way.
Oh, damn. Okay. Very dedicated veterans then. Very dedicated. Holy hell, because what are we on now?
I guess you can say why PSO2 specifically was not by choice. Technically, it was not by choice.
But you kept going with it in the end, so yeah.
I enjoy it. So.
How many years is it on now? Like, is it 9 years or are we at 10 years
9
now?
Years.
9 years. Man. Christ, PSO2's been around for that long, and...
All right.
And all I can think of is the fact that the North American server was last year, and they got to relive the whole damn thing.
Yeah, 8 years of content in a year.
Yeah, it was somewhat maddening, actually, going through all of that, because with knowledge of the JP server as well, when you went to the NA server, you were like, wait, why do we already have Summoner? Why do we already have all of this stuff? What's going on? Where's crafting?
Yeah, they do a little bit weird here and there in terms of like content releases, but I still applaud the global team though for being able to like mash everything together well, mash everything. That's probably not the proper way to put it, but like compile everything in a neat package for the year. Let's say that.
Yeah, I was surprised they managed to get everything together decently well. I think, let's see, I think the only part I particularly had hang-ups about was, again, episode 5, but episode 5 is when I dropped off JP as well, to be honest, because that was a bit, a bit on the troublesome side. We'll get to that in a bit, I suppose.
We?
Yeah, I suppose so, but
okay.
I will have to ask though, what is the appeal of PSO2? What kept you going all of these years playing this damn game?
Well, the thing is, like, I play it because my friends, right? And I guess that's like the very typical answer for everyone who plays an MMO game is that you don't play an MMO game to like play solo or anything. You literally play an MMO game because you want to find friends, you want to have fun, and you want to just like know people, you want to see people, you want to just enjoy and see what the world has to offer, right? And I am forever grateful for this game, by the way, for introducing me to friends all over the world, which normally in any other circumstance, I would never get a chance to be like this quote unquote open-minded of the world around me, right? If I never got a chance to know everyone from, I have friends from Sweden, I have friends from Australia, I have friends from even the Bermuda Triangle, like, wait, well, not the Bermuda Triangle, but like Bermuda, the country,
Oh my. Yeah, that is quite
like,
the splattering.
It's very diverse. It's extremely diverse. And it's always been a pleasure for me personally to be able to learn about people, learn about their cultures, learn about a lot of these things because, in our Japanese textbooks and everything, we're kind of really nationalistic as well, and we don't really learn too much about the world here and there. So it's a very different experience having to know about like these experiences from other people around the world firsthand, right? Their personal experiences versus reading a book about something. So yeah, that's one of the biggest appeals for me personally, is just getting to know people from all over. And then number 2 is eventually I kind of got into character designing as a hobby. Well, okay. I'm going to dive into that rabbit hole real fast.
All right, sure.
How I actually got into character design was so stupid.
Do elaborate.
It was so silly. It was the silliest thing ever. And you would probably never expect anyone who like gets into the hobby of art to be because of a reason like this. So effectively, back then, right, because I was still a kid and everything, I never had the chance to like buy AC. And I was like, you know what? I wanna try like buying some AC. I want to get like inventory. I want to get like, new class skill trees and everything because I messed up my skill tree back then like everyone else.
Yep.
But so eventually, one of the times there was like this screenshot contest from Sega, and the prize was like, yo, the grand winner gets like 5,000 AC. So I eyed that and I was like, you know what? Screenshot contest, let's go. Like, I'm all in for this, dude. And so I participated in it. And then I didn't win because I got second place, which is still really good, by the way.
Whoa,
and I got 2,000 AC off that. But I got so salty. I was so salty. I was like, there's no way. That first place did not take a better screenshot than I did.
Oh, wait, that makes me curious what your screenshot was like then, at that point then.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, from there, right, because I got really salty, I was like, okay, next time there's this kind of thing, I will not freaking lose. Ever. And so I kind of got really butthurt, and then I got into the whole character design thing. I was like, okay, how do I make a really, really good looking character? How do I make really cool expressions? How do I make everything looks like memorable? How do I make everything? And then I kind of like went in really hard on it, only for Sega to not put out any more of these contests ever again.
Oh man, that is a bit on the unfortunate side, yeah. I remember they may have done one for NA at some point, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they did some like later on, but it wasn't for AC anymore. It was for like some Star Gem stuff and like some in-game stuff, and I'm like, okay, no, that's not the same.
It's not the same. Oh my, so that's what got you into character creation. Okay, so
Exactly.
if I'm to elaborate on that, so what exactly is your design philosophy when it comes to character creation or say fashion or whatever? Go for it, go for it.
That's actually a very interesting question because you might find this really weird, or maybe not actually, but from at least like a lot of my artist friends that I have, they don't really share this sentiment. But for me, when I design characters and everything, what I do is I basically list out everything I like in a girl.
Oh.
And just jumble them together.
That's fair enough, that's fair enough. So this current
like,
design
real,
I
though.
have on screen, mind breaking it down then?
Oh, I mean, sure. But I would love to hear what you have on your thing as well, because I think yours is a pretty interesting and unique design as well. Like, I'm a big sucker for very formal costumes. So you having a nice like tie and just like having a really nice like vest looking thing, chef's kiss right there.
Alright, so let's see. I'll go over mine quite briefly. It's more or less I was going for a bartender look of sorts. And I was just like, okay, I approached an artist and bounced a few ideas between them. I was like, I want these aspects specifically. If there's anything you want to go and particularly flare up or whatever, sure. Here's some references of some Victorian bartenders. Here's some references of a couple of other things. I was like, alright, let's go along the lines of this. And they came back to me a couple of times with some works in progress. I was like, let's see, give it slightly more slender shoulders, a couple of other extra details, floral motifs, because I knew that artist was specifically good at that kind of stuff. And I was just like, alright, last thing, give me a monocle. Like, that was a very, very late addition, just, yeah, give me a monocle.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Let me. I know this is not supposed to be like my interview, but I still have to ask. Explain me the heterochromia.
Heterochromia, okay. Let's see, originally I was going to tie that to some kind of lore kind of aspect for this VTuber character, but in the end I was like, I may be a professional writer, but I'm not sure I want to write lore for myself.
Oh god.
Because that puts me under a different kind of stress. It's like, I write as a day job. So I need to write more for myself during my time doing a hobby than play a character at the same time. Because I'd long stepped down from the acting business as well, so I'm just like,
I see.
And just like, okay, you know what, heterochromia will do. At first it was like maybe 2 yellow eyes, then I was like, all the characters I ever make in MMOs or play as in MMOs have heterochromia, so I'm just like, screw it, let's give them a red eye.
Oh wow. The reason I asked about the heterochromia is because I never actually had any designs with heterochromia, because I never found any reason or like legitimate like explanations to why a character should have heterochromia, or even just like, anything that ties into it rather than just, a design choice. So I just felt like it's something that I never really tried just because I never had a good reason to, right? So I'm always really curious on how people design that particular thing. And it's always really interesting to me because a lot of the times I feel like people do it really well. I think yours is pretty nice as well, for sure, because it really did stand out to me and I was like, oh yeah. But it's just for myself, I just never was able to like find the good standpoint. Not standpoint, but like middle ground between that, I suppose so. And I never was really happy about some I tried, so that's about it.
Normally I find it's more a case of, usually the more heterochromia-like designs generally have either chinibyo or edginess attached to them, is what I find, yeah.
Be like, Waga nawa dark frame master!
Oh, Christ. That's an interesting chinibyo to pick out, or specific one to pick out.
That's like the most iconic one, right?
Yeah, Ino Battle, I think that one was along those lines anyway, but yeah. So what's your philosophy then? Let's hear it for Arcy, per se.
It's funny because like, for fun, right? I kind of call Arcy like my baby girl. Because she's like this really small girl. I'm like, you know what? I take care of her a lot. And then I call my character designs my daughters a lot, because a lot of people might know that I care about them a lot, right? So that's kind of the thing, like how the daughter thing started, which is perfectly fine. But if we're talking about like Arcy's design in general, now here's the thing. as I mentioned earlier, I basically just like listed off everything I liked about girls. So I listed out features. Okay, so
Alright.
number 1, I like the color blue. Blue hair. I personally am more a fan of white costumes than darker ones. White, perfect, tick. I like skirts, tick. I like leggings, tick. I like it to be more sporty, tick. You know, all that kind of stuff. And you kind of just like go through the entire list, and it's just like, yeah, I guess this is just what is created of everything that I like. And then I kind of like try to jumble that many times over and try to pull out many aspects of what I like about certain people, certain girls, or like certain designs, and then kind of like put them piece by piece and then mix and match and see what's appropriate to put where. And then that's kind of like how the entire design came to be, right? So it's nothing inspired, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing, you know, otherworldly or like super creative. It's, if anything, it's more narcissistic than anything.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Because let's see, I specifically remember one Pusukomi episode where they were comparing all their OCs, and then at the very end they were just like, yeah, all your characters cute or anything. But then at the very end they're just like, but mine is the best.
Right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no matter what, like, whoever does the designs or anything, it's your character, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about external pressure. You don't have to worry about like people saying, yeah, but like, what about this? What about that? The end of the, like, what's the most important is if you're happy with what you have. If whatever you do makes you happy, do it, right?
Yeah.
Because I also have a lot of friends who always ask me for like character design help and things like that, and I'm like, I don't feel qualified to sit here and tell you what you should do or what you should like, because it's not an extension of something I would do. And I would not want to force my personal ideals on the other person, because that's how it is. And sure, I understand that sometimes other people are like, yeah, but I want to hear your opinions, and like I want to see like what you feel personally, and like they value my opinion, right? So I respect that. And but that's a completely different thing than saying, hey, how do I make a good looking character, versus, hey, what do you feel about this design that I have done, right?
Yeah, there is a significant difference between, let's say, critiquing someone's preference compared to critiquing someone's art, rather, per se, or craft.
Yeah, okay, listeners, if there's like one takeaway from this entire like interview before we spiral into like complete madness or whatever, is that whatever you do it for yourself, okay? Because, like I said, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, as long as you're happy and content with the things that you are, that's the most important thing. You don't have to be scared to show your things. You don't have to be afraid to like ask for feedback. You don't have to be afraid of anything at all, because characters, you know, I feel are really an extension of the creator themselves. Like, why do we create characters? Because we want to create something that either expresses something or, you know, shows a certain aspect. Or like, if you're like a writer, right, you want to create characters because you want people to either relate to these characters, or you want to express certain philosophical ideas or like anything through the character, whether it be through personality, the things they do, the designs, or anything like that. And even if you're not happy with the things you do, work on it. Just keep working on it, you know. Think to yourself, what is good to you? And then you see like, hey, how can I improve on things? Ask for feedback. Don't be scared about anything at all, because not everyone is going to be out there and be like, hey, your design sucks. And like, not everyone's like out there trying to like, you know, go for your throat or something. Don't be scared about that. And just work on it until you get to a certain point where you are proud of presenting everything that you have. And I think that is the most important thing when it comes to at least like character designing and all that. And especially in the PSO2 community, where, you know, there's like these screenshot hashtags and everything. People are always really scared to do that because they think the characters are not good enough and stuff. And I'm here like, no, that's exactly why you have to post them. Or at least that's how I see it.
Yeah, it reminds me back in when I was still playing on, NA servers for a while, that with my alliance, we often joked about slider foo, basically. and seeing
Yes.
we were just like, oh yeah, how's your slider foo looking these days? And we're just like, yeah, it's looking fine. It's looking fine. We look across the cafe and we're just like, there's some guitar picks out here today, but you know, slider foo is what you'll do.
I understand.
But yeah, I will have to ask that. So PSO2's character creator, how long do you think you've spent on there?
Oh, do we have to answer? Do I?
Yes.
Well, okay. A lot of the designs and stuff, sometimes I just sit there for literally like at least 13, 14 hours sometimes.
Ooh.
I just sit there and just stare at it. Literally. Like some of the previous streams that I tried, like the snip face and stuff, some of those moments, I literally just sit there for like, I don't know, 5 minutes saying absolutely nothing. And then chat is like asking, Arcy, are you like okay? And I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm perfectly okay. All I'm doing is I just sit there and stare at it because I'm just thinking to myself and processing in my head like, do I like this? Like, what do I like about this? Or like, how can I improve this? Or like all that stuff. The way I do things, I internalize a lot, right? And then I kind of just like sit and stare and look, and then like, if I can look at something for hours and not feel bored or like not feel like there's a flaw or anything, I think that's a good design. So it's a very delicate thing for me where I kind of like just continue to try to like perfect everything as much as possible. And then I lose track of time.
Alright, fair enough. Would you say that's a particularly important aspect of PSO2, just going ahead and
100%.
creating your character?
110%. If anything, I made a video about like PSO2 as well with like a lot of the other PSO2 content creators, and a lot of them do agree on a certain thing as well, is that PSO2 has one of the craziest character creators in an MMO game. It's so freeform, it's so free to play too. So a lot of people are just really satisfied with that for sure, compared to like all the other games that they've played so far.
Because say for instance FF14, you choose from like a pre-selected faces, you choose a pre-selected hairstyles, blah blah blah, can't do too much aside from your own fashion. But PSO2, there have been some wild designs and wild variations out there. Like, whether it just be cosplay of particular characters or just like wild, complete original OCs. Pretty much. Just like...
Yeah, and I love seeing all the expressions of creativity and everything. I just love walking in town sometimes and just like staring at people. Because like sometimes I get like really inspired by some people's designs, or like, damn, that hair looks so good. Or like, I never thought of using a costume like that before. Or like, it's just so wonderful. So you get a chance to really see how people interact with each other and then just like find their philosophies in design. It's just wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, it is to say that like when you see a certain accessory come out, some people are like, whatever, never gonna use that. Then others will just think, oh, I can enlarge this, I can place this somewhere else. I can do all kinds of wild stuff with just something minimal, and it's just, yeah. The creativity I've seen in the PSO2 community when it comes to customizing their characters is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I would think that in the global server is a little bit more tame than JP.
I'll say a 50-50 to that, just in the sense that if you joined JP at a certain time, perhaps you'd be locked out of particular accessories. But if you joined NA from the start and got that whole 8 years of content in 1 year, there were actually pretty good odds that you got a lot of costumes, was the thing.
That's for sure.
Because yeah, for instance, your, what's it called, the ribbon that you have, that was just on a mission pass.
It was the very first one.
Yep.
The very first mission pass in the global server. And the very first item too.
I made sure to pick it up right away.
Me personally, like I felt like they gave me a nod, right? Because here's some untold stories.
Hey.
Like at the very beginning, the day the official PSO2 English Twitter actually got created, I saw that and I was like, wait, are they actually gonna launch it in the West and everything again? And then so I throw them a DM and I was like, hey, Like if there's anything I can help with or like anything, please let me know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so I've been in communication with them a lot since the very start.
Ooh.
And then they were like, yeah, you know, we were fans of your works and stuff too. So like it would be great to have you on board with the whole thing ordeal, but like launching globally and everything. So
Damn.
I just felt like it was a really nice nod from them to be like, yeah, we recognize, you know, it's a very Arcy thing.
Fair enough.
Or maybe it's just completely coincidental. It might be completely coincidental. Who knows, right? But
potentially.
I would like to think that it's a little bit more than just coincidence.
I mean, the moment I saw it on the mission pass, I was like, wait, I've seen these around before. Hold up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, that's why I've seen these around, because, let's see, there are a couple of your characters that I remember very distinctly over the years, for whatever reason. Let's see, Arcy, because that's one of the most common to pop up in your videos.
Iconic, yep, she is very iconic.
Let's see, your Gunner Girl from way back in that Zenith Boss Rush video, because I was like...
Oh my god, yes!
I was like, yeah, that was one of the first ones I checked out. The next one, though, was like... I think it was your Force Braver, and I was just like... I mainly remember that one because Force Braver shenanigans were kind of your thing for a while, and I was just like...
Yeah. Force Braver is a very RC signature thing. It was from way back then. There's such a big history on that, and then like if we really go into that, we won't end the interview today. So
I suppose. Well,
not.
I would like to touch on it briefly, though, at the very least, because I did try it out for myself, and I found the class to be...
painful.
Painful would be one word of it, yes. Because eventually when Phantom came out, I was like, hold up a second. Oh, I see. But yeah, let's see. As for the others, I think I mainly remember the Hero, because when Hero came out, I was like, I was like,
She's a big fan favorite.
Because, yeah, when Hero came out, I was just like, oh, man. Is there a reason to play any other class in PSO right now?
Right?
Because I remember the philosophy behind that, and that was just, oh, God. Why? They wanted to replace all other base classes with a new successor class, because, yeah. I just remember a lot of people getting really pissed at that and them eventually just buffing up every other class, roughly to Hero State.
That's why there was the quote-unquote episode 5 dip, so...
Yeah, the episode 5 dip lasted for a really long time, because I don't remember hearing about PSO again until episode 6.
Yeah, they took a lot to recover from that. And like, you know, at the peak of episode 4, PSO2 was like at the all-time high, and like ever since the game launched, late episode 4 was like the game was always congested.
Yeah,
it was the highest amount of player count that the game has ever seen, even more than NGS launch, by the way.
Yeah, I mainly remember right after maintenance on any episode 4 patch, everyone was in there almost right away.
All right.
Yeah, like it was, man. Yeah, because I was over on ship too, and that thing was just like, oh, yeah, all your bloody blocks are full, so have fun trying to get in. Yeah,
right. No, episode 4 was so fun though, like for real. At the beginning, everyone had like their doubts because it was really weird.
Yeah. The story was a departure.
But they really picked it up on the second half of it.
Second half, I can say the characters do grow on you, at the very least, but for the first half, it's like, oh boy, we're in a game.
The one thing you can say is just why. Literally just why.
Yeah, it was a case of, we're in a game. Oh god, we're in a game.
Yeah. But then it's so sad though, because from the all-time high in episode 4, we thought that episode 5 was going to be like the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
But then it's from the all-time high to an all-time low.
Yeah, 5 crashed onto the scene and I was like, I'm not sure what to think of most of the things they did in 5. I was just like, Hero became a thing, other matters. I don't know. If I'm to say at the very least, 5 had probably one of the most fun equipment upgrading systems, just in the fact of you actually had to play a lot of the damn content and go around picking up all kinds of weapons to fuse into one.
Yeah. Which is a system that, well, stayed through the entirety of episode 6 as well. So.
Because yeah, 6, you know, 6 was more a case of when 6 came around, I was just like, yeah, I'll wait on it. Then I never came back for 6, and I only played 6 on NA launch, actually. So when everything bursted out onto the scene at once, pretty much. And that was a case of farming divide quests and extreme quests and all kinds of stuff over and over just to get your class.
Divide is so fun, though.
Divide is fun. But my memories of Divide are mainly running them solo, is the thing.
Oh, that's why. You know, when Divide first released, I literally had 3-4 days of 17-hour streams.
Oh. Wow.
It was so fun. I love it.
Because Divide quests, I'll say they are fun for a group to play through, so a team of 4. As a solo player, there are some missions there which are just absolutely painful, or some objectives that are extremely painful to solo.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of my friends would be like, Arcy, please carry.
But yeah, just having one player who knew their DPS rotations made a massive difference in Divide. And just in any other Urgent, because holy hell. Let me bring up one of the first curveballs of this interview then. So one of the things I mainly remember over on the JP server was they were very, very toxic about the amount of DPS you were doing. Did you ever run into that kind of experience before?
None.
Really? Because there were some cases where if you were playing an unconventional class combination, they'd actually just kick you straight from the MPA.
Really? Never seen or heard about that before, actually.
Really? Because a lot of PSO2, from what I recall on JP, was a case of if you're not doing more DPS, then why are you existing? Pretty much. Because if people...
Hey, maybe I'm just crazy.
Because after all, you had the option of putting more skill points into more damage or into more defense. And I mainly recall that if you were playing certain builds, they were just like, yeah, nah, get out of here, get out of here.
I mean, there are certain standards that you're kind of expected to uphold, right? And then anything else from that is okay as long as it's not a complete departure from, hey, I'm here actually contributing to the fight.
Fair enough. Because if there was only one complaint I had with NA, it was just that, oh man, the clears were not smooth at all.
I understand.
Yeah. How does one put it? The first Luthor I went into on NA, I was like, it's Luthor. This should be an easy fight, right? This fight's been around for oh shit, this fight has not been around for years. Oh no.
Yeah.
Luthor died in the last 30 seconds of the MPA.
I've seen 3-second clears. As in 3-second remaining. I've also seen a lot of timeouts.
Oh god. My condolences. Because Luthor was one of the first stumbling blocks, and it was a case of it did filter out who could do DPS and who couldn't, and then after that was more or less a case of, as it turned out, when the NA version shipped, we had the old HP count of Luthor. Or I think it was the difficulty below. It was the difficulty below ultra hard, I think it was. We had the old HP count, and that was hyperinflated.
Although you guys did have the updated game balancing and some really, really strong weapons though. So.
Oh yeah. The updated game balancing, I was really surprised how early it came.
Yeah, because my friends and groups and everything, we literally melt those things in NA in 3 minutes. So.
Because it was more or less the same after I joined an alliance and was doing alliance runs. A lot of the fights, man, we chipped those down to 5-10 minute clears, and we were just like,
yeah, because Luthor is one of those first fights where you really have mechanics that you have to uphold. And so it's a bit of a departure again from the regular just hack and slash kind of get gameplay, no brain, right?
Yeah.
That's about it.
Alright, in which case I'll ask, is... how do I phrase this particular question? Because I do have an inkling of how to ask this one. It's just a bit on the more difficult side to ask, per se. Would you particularly defend complex game systems?
Defend complex game systems?
In the sense that PSO2, there is a lot going into it if you want to do well at it, is the thing. There is a layer of mechanics after mechanics, pretty much. There is your skill tree. There is your gear on top of that, your fixes. Beyond that, and then there was your PAs, crafted stuff, mag, all kinds of other stuff just crammed in, and to say the least, a couple of the friends I dragged in for NA were very confused at the start of things.
I understand. No, see, in part, a lot of the fault in that, in my opinion, is the fact that like the game tried to shove everything in your face too much at once. But otherwise, like when it comes to you know, defending complex systems and things like that, right? I have a certain standpoint on this. In that, if anything, I'm more against simplifying games.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually more against oversimplifying games, because at the end of the day, you think about why you play video games. Is that, sure, some people play it very casually, or some people want to, you know, get that challenge or like get that itch of getting something difficult out of the way, which is why, of course, there's like many genres of video games and things like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's not impossible to find a good balance between both. Because if you think of a class like Braver,
oh yeah,
not the NGS Braver, by the way, but like the original PSO2 Braver.
Yep, original Braver. Oh boy.
I think Braver is one of, if not the most well-designed class in the entirety of PSO2, period.
Oh, I would agree with that sentiment, yeah.
Number one, it has a really, really low skill floor, in that all the casual players can just come in, pick it up easily, do relatively well, and have fun with it. But at the same time of a really, really low floor, there's also an extremely high ceiling, in that you need to learn the timings, you need to learn the counters, you learn your animations, you do some skipping on the JAs, or like you do a lot of those like various different things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that is the case where, yeah, the class is a very low floor, so it's very simplified for the casual audience who wants to play casually and just have fun. But there's also the existing skill ceiling there for the people who wish to have more tools, more options, more complexity to reach it. And I think that's the most important thing about video games, is that nowadays I feel like a lot of video games, people try to oversimplify things, and you know, you only have that simplicity, right? But within that simplicity, there's none of that complexity that, you know, goes over as a quote-unquote optional kind of thing. Because eventually, even though, you know, you start playing casually, but like, if there's no ceiling for you to reach, you're not going to really get any better. And then eventually you reach a certain point where it's just like the wall of, hey, this is all I can do. I can't get better than this. I can't improve. I can't do anything. And it just feels like you're just stuck, right? So it gets very stale and boring, because you know that this is the wall that you just reached.
Yeah, fair enough sentiment. If you eventually hit the plateau, then there's just nothing to do beyond there. On the other hand, if the skill ceiling is close to unreachable, then you always have something to strive for. I feel that was more or less the case with Braver, just in the sense of you had two very distinct weapons to master, essentially. And even if you just chose one or the other, eventually you had the option of using both. And when Hybrid Braver had enough skill points to actually function, that was probably, one of the most insane classes I played. And then you comboed that with Phantom, and you had so many options. Like, that was an absolutely insane class. And then unfortunately a 12 came out, and a certain different playstyle came along.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? I attribute this back to just gaming in general, because if you see like competitive games, right? For example, like the Counter-Strike or like the MOBAs or like the things like that,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that it's very easy for people to just come in, because like in MOBAs, for example, it's like, yeah, you come in and you have like everyone has 4 skills and that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
But then at the very highest level, you can go so crazy to like animation cancel or like have really, really good reaction times or mechanics or things like that. And that's the thing. It's a really low floor that people can just come in and be like, yeah, I'm having fun. But the ceiling is there for people who, wants to like reach the very, very top of it, while not like entirely, destroying the game for the casual players, right? Because especially so for like a game like PSO2, where it's a PvE game,
Yep.
you can focus entirely on just like fun in the game balancing rather than being like competitive and everything. So, I just feel like having the complexity is just a very, very healthy thing for game design. Because I feel like NGS is kind of having this problem right now where every weapon only has like 3 photon arts, right?
Yep.
But with how the flow of the combat is compared to base PSO2, the ceiling feels a lot lower right now. And then there's just no incentive for you to chase that mastery. So like I understand they're trying to like really simplify things and be like, yo man, like everyone can just come in, pick it up, and very, very nice, right? But eventually, after a while, you only have that and you can't really do anything else. It kind of gets really stale.
I think I ran into this experience while playing Gunner in NGS. Because it was a case of, okay, Gunner in base game PSO2, know how to play this thing, knew weapon switching, knew all of the extra mechanics you could throw onto it. Or all the crazy single target damage that you could potentially pull off. Because the difference between someone who was a, I don't know, newbie gunner compared to someone who knew all of the extra switches and whatnot was frankly ridiculous, because it was almost like 10 million extra damage, but anyway.
Yeah. But then again, because I said, right, it's a PvE game, so like what does that affect the casual players? Is
Yeah,
that
it shouldn't
everyone
affect them
at
too
the end of the
much,
day, as long as you can clear the content, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah, pretty much. The thing I found with NGS was I was ready to learn Gunner again and have something more complex, perhaps. And just something potentially a lot more unique than needing to exploit something for extra DPS. And when I did find out that, oh, wait, I'd functionally learned everything there was to know, that's it. It was something of a moment of just like, wait, so there's not anything else I can add on to this at all? Gunner is just a very selfish class? Okay, that's it. That's all it was, and that was a very sobering moment, just a case of, oh, that's all NGS really had to offer when it came to Gunner, and that just felt really sad.
Yeah, because as mentioned, right, there's none of that like mastery to chase.
Because, yeah, it felt like once I had hit that chain limit, then bursted the chain, that was it. It was like, oh, I'm doing the old gunner combos, but I'm doing the very low priority gunner combos. I'm not doing any of the fancy stuff from base game. So it's like, it was just really sad, because before it was like, oh, I could not land this kick, and then I could do a massive burst of damage to start the chain. Or I could whiff this entirely, then just flip over and hit all 24 of these shots for a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah.
But since none of that really existed per se, it was a case of, oh, that's it. That's all I can do.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's a really weird feeling, right? When you know that like this is the highs I can go, but like you want to go higher, but there's none of that. So it's like you're kind of in the ground where you want to be satisfied that you already learned the class, but it also doesn't feel as satisfying because it's not really much to learn to begin with.
Alright, you know what?
So yeah, that's basically how I feel about it.
Let's go for a quick run through of each of the classes in base game compared to NGS then, in which case, of the 7 or so that have been revealed and released. Let's see, so let's think. Alright, base game PSO2, Hunter. I mainly remember this class for ignition parry, and a lot of counters.
Yes, very much so. And you know, Partisan was such a fun weapon in base PSO2.
Oh yeah, definitely. That
Although
thing...
Partisan is like one of those weapons in NGS where I felt did like way better than base PSO2.
Hmm.
Wire Lance as well.
Wide Lance,
Those
really?
two, real winners.
Wide Lance I mainly remember for Spin Dance, and that was about it.
Yeah, and you don't really get to do a lot other than like doing other Cyclone, and that's literally it.
Yeah. Because
You know, heavily fall, holding current, all that stuff. Yeah, simple.
Because the fun thing I found about Wide Lance was it actually rewarded you for mashing buttons harder and faster at times.
15 times. 15 inputs.
Oh my god, yeah. That was particularly fun part about Hunter. Anyway, how would you compare that to NGS then? Because I briefly touched Hunter in NGS, and it mainly felt like, oh, you play this class to get used to the game, and that's about it. Is what I kind of felt from it.
Yeah, right now Hunter is kind of like, you kind of just like charge the really big spinny sword PA and you just win. It's effectively you just spin to win, and it's just you're done. Get some counters in here and there, cool, right? Dude, I love the NGS counter mechanic where you can have the counter and then you have the 5th hit and all that stuff. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah. The counter skip, yeah, that one was good. Because yeah, the 5th hit in the combo chain hits surprisingly hard. But yeah, alright, one universal thing we do have to talk about though. How do you feel about the removal of JAs, so just attacks?
I don't like it.
Oh man, I am of the same sentiment, honestly.
Yeah.
It feels really weird for some reason, because I
It's
still
always
do...
been a very Fantasy Star thing, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like they just tried to oversimplify it for players, because like, for example, let's go back to the Partisan thing again. Like in base PSO2, Partisan had like multiple spins where you would have like, you can spin for PP, or like you can not spin and then not get your gear gain and all that stuff. There's like you have those like macro decisions that you can do. But also, by the way, speaking of Partisan, like as much as I think that NGS Partisan did it a little bit better than base PSO2, they still have a lot of the same problems, which yeah. But yeah, JAs. I think JAs are such a big charm of PSO2. I really do.
The thing is, I still input them, even in NGS. I was like, wait. Something feels wrong. Why am I clicking multiple times when I can just be holding down the attack? Wait. Oh, that's right, because 8 years of PSO2 does that to you.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I say to a lot of people, and also this is like the login message for my team in JPL. So it's just like, we're still waiting for the JAs that never came.
Oh no. Not like this, man. Not like this.
So sad.
The JAs that never came, man.
Yeah.
Man.
And honestly, I think that really sums up a lot of PSO2 NGS right now.
Because, yeah, when I logged back in to try out Braver, I was like, I pulled out a katana, I was like, oh, this feels strange. Why are there multiple steps to things? Wait, a JA's back? I got excited for a moment, then I realized, oh wait, you can do the katana combos just holding it down. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Oh man.
I do applaud the NGS Katana Braver though, trying to like switch things up a bit with like having the first stage, second stage, third stage PAs and stuff like that. To have a little bit of that step of complexity to replace the quote unquote replace the JAs and stuff. But it's still, you know, not really scratching that itch.
It doesn't feel quite right, because I'm used to the katana 1/2/ / rather, so it would just be sword beam, then double slash is what I was used to doing a lot when it came to Katana Braver. So here I was just like, oh, this feels very weird for some reason, because it's kind of in the reverse, where you would normal twice and then use a Katana PA, and that was just like, huh, this is really strange for some reason. I don't know, my overall thoughts are... Okay, hopefully we're back on that note. Yep. Seems like it. Seems like the connection's healthy, at the very least. If it dies again in a similar fashion, then I will hop back to the other connection. Good lord.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. But yeah, when it came to Braver and NGS, I got really mad at it. Simply because, how does one say? Original Braver felt a lot more explosive, a lot faster, whereas New Braver felt like I was a turret almost, and I was like, It's like, I want to move. Please let me move.
Yeah. If there's anything I don't like about Braver in NGS is the animation of the bow.
Oh god.
That's my only gripe.
Yeah. Bow hurts me inside. Bow really does hurt me inside because...
It doesn't hurt me in the gameplay, it hurts me in the animations.
Yeah, because when it comes to bow, I was used to... Let's see. You know in base game PSO2, you input the photon art and a direction at the same time, and it'll dodge in that direction. Usually for...
So good.
Yeah, Master Shot, Penetrating Arrow, those two.
So good.
Yeah, and then like Zero Bomber even. Anyway, or Sharp Bomber. Those three were probably my favorite PAs in PSO2. The unfortunate part was
I have a guilty
just...
pleasure. I actually have a guilty pleasure for playing bow.
And what might that be?
Literally, it's just, I don't know why, but just spamming penetration arrow is just so fun.
Oh man, that was made a certain lot more viable when it came to, yes. Braver Etoile. Braver Etoile.
It's so fun.
My god. But yeah, just the fact that when you... Let's see, when you inputted a direction and a PA at the same time and it would dodge you in that direction, that's what I considered really fluid, really fun about bow in base game.
For sure. And also very dynamic gameplay too.
Yeah, then when you did it in NGS, I was like, I have to hit weapon action after this, don't I?
Doesn't feel good.
Nah, it goes from a 2-button input to 4 to 5 buttons, and it's like, man, you just
and
needed...
it's also slow.
Yeah. It was a case of you just needed an excuse to put in a weapon action for bow. And bow kind of didn't need one, so yeah. Yeah, there is a certain level of suffering when it comes to bow.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, when I picked up Braver, I was like, I am so hyped, everything looked really cool in the trailers and reveals. Alright, let's give it a... Oh god, everything feels horrible.
Exactly. I think one of the most important things for having a good game, right, is that you need the good feeling for the players. Like, the players have to feel good about it. Because, like, it's a very... How do you say it? It's a very... It's something that you can't judge. Because how something feels is completely subjective for people. But how do you design something that feels good for a majority of the people who plays it, right?
Let's see. I'll mention in the game design process essentially how we go about going for a game feel, because game design is one of my other fields that I work in, and it's the case of... Let's see, I'll go over a very simple model called the MDA model: mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics. Mechanics are the rules, pieces, whatever you need. Dynamics are what players make of it, so tactics, strategies, techs, whatever. And aesthetics is the experience you're trying to sell. And ideally, through the combination of mechanics and dynamics, you're meant to sell that vision. That's how you're meant to account for it in game design, so to speak. So if you wanted, say, make a very fluid, very explosive class, what would you need to do? Okay, hype up the animations, sell that anticipation and release. What else do you need to do? Okay, make the animations very smooth, make them flow into one another, as if you were actually comboing something. Okay, check that off, good. And last of all, you want to sell the experience of being, say, skillful in that execution. Okay, let's throw in some counters. Let's throw in some extra little things players can take notes of and exploit. Then you get that, and by the end of it, you get Braver. pretty much, from base game.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how you go about designing game feel, per se. Sega, I'd say, is, when it came to base game, PSO2 was exceptionally good with noting functionally every class, except maybe Tekker. Tekker could use a bit of work, but...
But what I will say that they do really well, though, is the big hits always felt really satisfying.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you were doing a huge chunk of damage, you were doing a huge chunk of damage.
Like, even on Tekker, you know, you charge your heavy hammer for 4 seconds, and it's like, that feeling of, like, missing the heavy hammer is like, God!
Yeah, I know that sentiment. Heavy hammer. You land that thing. Oh my god, the numbers were amazing. You missed that thing. Oh shit, no. God, no.
Yeah.
I felt
it's a very fun one.
Yeah, I felt it was the same with, say, Final Nemesis when it came to using... Yeah. Oh, Braver. You missed that. Oh, you're really sad. You hit that, you immediately follow up with your penetrating arrows, and then you watch the banish happen, and it's like, ah, yes.
Satisfaction.
Absolute satisfaction. But yeah, let's speak on some of the other classes. Say, Fighter, for example. Do you have too much experience with Fighter in base game?
Well, trust me. Over my like 31, 32k hours of playing the game, I have a lot of experience with every class.
Let's see, base game Fighter, I mainly remember them for floor tanking, if not being speedrunners, pretty much.
The skill gap between really, really good players and really casual players for Fighter is quite the gap.
Yeah, because I remember at some point it'd be like, oh, you'd go Fighter main, Braver, sub, and then you would use a katana, and then Fighter with a katana was something absolutely ridiculous instead.
Yeah.
At some point. But yeah, Fighter... Alright, Fighter, complex as hell class, you're on 25% HP most of the time, and dying.
I do feel, though, that Fighter is probably the best feeling class in NGS.
Is that because of Julian dance early on?
No, I didn't even play Double Saber early on.
Yeah, fair. So, what makes Fighter feel particularly good in NGS then, to you?
I just feel like Fighter is just one of those classes that really, really took advantage fully of everything that NGS allows you to do. Like, with the whole new design philosophy, with like having it be more casual or like a little bit of a slower pace, having a fast-paced class that feels very fluid, that feels very complex in a way, and also just feels satisfying to play. It's like, I feel like Fighter is, if not the only class in all of NGS right now, that actually hit the mark.
Fair enough, because to be fair, Fighter was one of those classes I found myself leveling and I kept coming back to, pretty much. Just in
And
case
also,
of, yeah.
also, I think Fighter is also the only class in NGS that deserves, quote unquote, deserves the removal of the JA, considering how the class is played and the speed and
Definitely,
the pacing
I'll
of it.
say. Because the two weapons that I did make use of while playing Fighter would have been Twin Daggers and Double Saber. Wasn't as much of a Knuckles fan, so to speak. And Twin Daggers
Knuckles is
just
still
felt...
really fun, though.
Yeah. Twin Daggers I just felt particularly funny that you could just spin and then counter, pretty much.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? It's I don't know if you agree with me, but like I said, right? I do think that Fighter is like the only class that actually deserves the removal of the just attacks.
With the speed,
Because like if you imagine
the speed
if you
of it,
imagine
then
the
yeah.
just attacks, if you imagine the just attacks in NGS Fighter, right? Your gameplay would be a lot slower.
Yeah, pretty much. Because let's see, Twin Daggers combo comes in about 4 or 5 paces, so to speak, because after you do a couple of hits on the ground, you get put in the air. If you had to time those, I think that would be pretty miserable, honestly. Because yeah, it is a forced launch, so yeah, getting the timing
Which
to
is
hand for
fine.
that would be...
I don't mind it too much because it's something that's a gimmick of the class, right? So,
Yeah. And with the hitboxes and hit zones of the enemies in NGS, it makes enough sense, anyhow. Let's see. Moving on from fighter then, so past the physical classes, let's talk ranger then. There's one
I
other
think Ranger
guy.
felt good.
I had
I really do. I really do think Ranger felt good.
I had one friend who played ranger from the very start and was like, I have to adapt so much more, but this is fun.
It felt good, but you reach a certain limit because you don't have as much diversity.
Yeah. There was probably an extent where Z-aiming, I suppose, you had to account for, but not quite as much as compared to base PSO2, where you actually did have that headshot multiplier and whatnot. Or severe headshot multiplier along with weak spots.
There's no headshots in NGS though.
Yeah. It feels really
Makes
weird.
me so sad.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. There was the times where you're playing Ranger and you need to be stationary to do all the extra damage, and then there's the times where it's like, oh, now you can just be at critical distance moving around like an absolute madman instead.
Yeah. I feel like the staying still and stuff is very, very dynamic. I feel like it's a very dynamic thing. That now that it's removed, you don't really have a lot of value by, you know, standing still or moving or like something like that. You don't really feel like that feeling of like, you don't get rewarded for positioning well or something like that as much.
And critical distance was probably the one thing which allowed for it, but at the same time that felt a bit tacked on to myself, and that's gone from someone who plays a lot of Monster Hunter, and in Monhun, any ranged weapon you pick up has a very, very specific critical distance that you have to meet.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, at the very least, like, bow in Monster Hunter World felt satisfying.
Oh yeah, no, bow was one of my favorite weapons to use in World. That thing just felt absolutely insane, borderline broken, because it had all the capabilities of any other weapon, but functionally for free on the damn thing.
But again, it comes back to the point, right, where it just feels satisfying. And then despite not having that much, quote unquote, variety in the gameplay, it makes up a lot with like the other mechanics and just like a lot of complexity in, you know, your options and everything. So, which is why I think it's a really, really well designed.
Let's see.
But yeah, bringing it back to PSO, I still feel like, sure, we're in this like limbo right now, but at the end of the day, we still have to be waiting for December, right? Because they're going to be adding more PAs, more stuff like that, and then having more mechanics is going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, December will be the time to tell, per se. Let's see.
Although, if you ask me personally, a lot of people are saying like, oh, I'm waiting for December to get back into the game, or like people who are bored and stuff like that, right? Me personally, I would say give it a year even, not even just December. Come back at anniversary.
Oh man. Oh. Game will be very,
because I feel
very
like
different by then.
I feel like they really need that amount of time to really just adjust everything.
Because yeah,
how I feel.
The way I felt about NGS pretty much was after playing it on launch, it felt like similar vein to say Genshin Impact on launch. There was only so much you could do, and once you reached the end of that, yeah, it just felt not particularly great because you just logged in, did dailies, then just headed off pretty much. And I got the same kind of feeling of burnout from PSO2 NGS, mainly because there was also the mining runs and all the other gathering stuff you had to do as well.
The only issue I have with NGS as of now is there's no incentive. Because number one, there's no incentive to master your gameplay. Number two, there's no incentive for grinding for gear. Because, well, you can just buy your endgame gear in like 1,000 Meseta.
Ooh, yeah.
Number three, the whole problem with like the entire inflation and everything is really demotivating because I want fashion because there's no gameplay to play. And then it's like, oh, I can't get my fashion.
Yeah, I remember when one of the first tickets came out, it was like the wedding one, and I was like, oh yeah, I really like the hairstyle here. Oh, it's like 200k Meseta? Okay, that's doable, I guess, because we had weeklies and everything. By the end of the next week, it was like 2 million. I was like, oh god.
I heard the inflation issues on NA was really bad.
Let's just say, if you believe the conspiracy theorists, there's a team out there called the Mafia. Believe what you will, essentially.
I've heard some insane horror stories, and here I am, kind of feeling really lucky that, you know, we don't really have that issue over in JP as much, but ooh. Yeah.
Manipulation of MMO markets is kind of a staple though, I would say. Just a case of, if you want to play an MMO, you better learn how to do the market. Because, yeah.
Well, that's hard though, because they remove free shop passes.
Yeah. Yeah. You can always play the market in base game still, but, yeah. That base game, we'll get to that particular topic in a bit, I suppose. Alright, suppose let's shift this onto the tech-based classes then.
They don't feel good at all. That's all I have to say on it. No further additional comment, period.
Wow, not bad.
I will say this in bold statements right now. If I continued to play Force, I would have quit NGS already.
Not bad.
That statement alone should summarize exactly how I feel about the tech classes, both Techer and Force.
Wow. Wow. Man, because at this point I treated Force as just a subclass just for that PP, what's it called? PP regain. But yeah, I see.
It doesn't feel good at all.
I see.
And
what you mean
also,
by
when
it,
I saw
yeah.
the trailer for Bouncer and saw that jet boots can also cast text, I'm like, why do we play Force anymore? It's over. Relationship done.
Oh no. Oh no. I actually haven't seen the Bouncer reveal yet, so I don't have a clue about how that would be working.
Oh, it actually looks very promising. So.
When is that slated to come out again? Is that this month or next
October.
month? Next month. Okay.
October 13 specifically.
Because I have one fellow in chat right now which
Well,
would
not
be
13, but
very
October
interested.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have a fellow in chat which would be very, very interested in getting back in if Bouncer were to come around. But yeah, that is to say, yeah, techs don't feel particularly great. There's just a lack of them, so to speak.
Well, and also lack of uniqueness as well. Because like Phantom tech casting is very different from Force tech casting,
very, very
right?
different.
So that's a really good thing. But like right now, it's like, why do you even play Force when Techer exists? Because Techer does everything Force does, but better.
Yeah.
And now Jet Boots can do it too.
Alright, what are your particular thoughts on Talus then?
I don't really enjoy the NGS Talus either. It's like a pea shooter. That's all I can say.
Man.
It's a literal pea shooter. And then like, even if you play Rod and you're like, oh my god, I have a cool ass laser for my photon blast. Guess what? The hitbox of that thing is like the worst hitbox I've ever seen in my life.
Man. I think the only saving grace of Talus this time around, I think, is more or less just the hotbar skill you get and just the... Yeah.
There's some interesting concepts there, but it's quite frankly not enough, to be honest.
It's a bit troublesome, yeah. Like, as much as I'd want to try and defend Talus, I'm just like, there's not much I can defend here, buddy. You tried really hard, but it just doesn't work out, man. It just doesn't work out.
I felt Hero Talus was unique enough, though.
Oh, Hero Talus. Oh boy. I actually had a lot of fun with
That
Hero
one
Talus.
was unique enough, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because Hero Talus, you could set and forget a whole bunch of things, and then you could teleport around like a madman.
It's unique. It's very unique.
The one thing I found, though, is it broke a lot of maps. Just in the case of if you aimed your teleport upwards, you could go up a ridiculous distance, and then you could just lay down your Talus stuff from above, from complete and total safety. And yeah, well, I'm not exactly innocent of abusing that. Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, I will say.
I don't blame you. It's fun, right? Exactly. And that's exactly what I always have to tell everyone, is that whatever you do, like, the most important thing is as long as you're having fun, you know.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because I remember in base game PSO2 there was the days of Gunner Braver, or Braver Gunner, whichever it was, and that was just, oh, you went into a raid? Oh, that boss is dead, by the way.
Yep, in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, just one banish combo was like, oh, it's gone. Yep. Good job, Urgent's over. Arcs are fine to proceed once more.
Yep, sounds about right.
Man, those were some wild days when just skill tree customization had a lot of very unusual synergies all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, because one aspect I do have to talk about when it comes to NGS, how do you feel about the subclassing in there?
Oh, much better than base PSO2, that's what.
Really?
Yeah. But except the fact that they still fell down the same exact pitfalls.
And what might those pitfalls be then?
Basically having Force as a subclass available.
Ah.
And it's way too good compared to everything else. There's no point to subclassing like 90% of the classes, but at least the conceptual thing with it, right? It's like so much better than base PSO2.
Because, yeah, you have access to all your weapons this time around, at the very least.
There's literally no point in subclassing anything except for Force or Gunner right now.
Wait, Gunner sub? Really? Like,
yeah, for the on-hit PP restoration.
Ah, I see. Right, because both of them are more or less considered subclasses for the PP restore, yeah. Hunter pales compared to what it was before as a subclass, one fella says in chat. Yeah, I suppose so, but Hunter was that one subclass where you could functionally pair it with everything and get away with it, so to speak.
But at the end of PSO2 in episode 6, right, you have so much more versatility in every single like subclass too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they really try to like balance that out, and I feel like the subclass balancing, quote unquote, in base PSO2 is still a lot better. But at least like conceptually, I like NGS's one. Conceptually, not the execution.
Oh man. Alright, so to speak then, what are your feelings on the end of PSO2 per se? So the whole graduation quest and everything. What was that experience
Never
like?
been over for me because right now I still play base PSO2 more than NGS. I really do.
Fair enough.
Like
the option
me and my
does
team
exist.
and everything also. We still run like challenge mode and we still play a lot of base PSO2.
Oh, you still do
Because
challenge
it's just
quests?
a lot more fun.
Alright,
Because
hold
like
up.
if you really think back, right, it's like sometimes when you play NGS for a while and it's like you go back to base PSO2 and it's like, man, I didn't realize this game was so fun. It's so refreshing to come back.
Hey, hold up a second here. I need to thank a friend, which has a fair bit to celebrate later on, for gifting a whole bunch of subs. Hey, Komatsu Sasha, thanks for the subs. Or gifted subs.
Thank you so much for supporting my kidnapper.
Hey, this one will probably kidnap me later, just for some drinks anyway, but...
Wait, so you mean the sub money goes back to their drinks anyways? Okay, I see how it is.
It goes back to me buying alcohol, essentially, for the most part. That's
let's not jump in there too much.
Don't mind it too much, don't mind it. But yeah. Alright, so to speak, with all of the things that have been revealed for PSO2 in the future, do you think it does have a particularly bright future to go for?
Oh yeah, for sure. With like everything with the base that we have right now, it just needs to be, you know, refined and really just like worked on. Because the base is fantastic. The game feels fantastic. The visuals, great. Fashion, great. Systems, could use some work, but it's all there. But like, once the game finds its strive and finds its own identity and finds a connection once again with the players, as connection is in like the alignment on what the players want and what the devs want, right? And like everyone just have fun with the game and stuff like that. I think NGS will be a game for the ages. I played base PSO2 for the past 9 years. 31k hours, okay?
Oh boy, yeah,
I
that is
feel
a lot of
uniquely
hours.
qualified. I feel uniquely qualified to say that. Yeah, maybe half of this is also like a bit of the content shock where, the global side of things is like you're not used to the old pacing
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like slow PSO2, right?
yeah, very
So
slow
like most of
burn.
the
Yeah.
us and JP, like while we're not really happy with the current content either, but we still have all our fashion, all our costumes, all our everything. We just have fun with screenshotting, and then base PSO2 still exists, so it's okay, kind of, even though not really, right?
I will say it was a genius move on them to make it 2.5 rather than a fresh start entirely.
For sure. But just there's a lot of things that need to be ironed out, and that's
Yeah.
honestly all I really have to say for the case. Once it does, is I will not see the light of day ever again.
Fair enough, fair enough. In which case, I will have to ask, when the character creator came out for NGS, what was the first thing you did, and how do you feel about it, per se?
Honestly, I did not experiment too much on the NGS creator because I wanted to keep that for whenever I have to experiment it with like the stuff that I already have in base PSO2, right?
Ah.
So on like my beta NGS streams and stuff like that, I was like more chill and just like, yeah, so like I'm just gonna like enjoy myself and just like see what's up and then not really think too much about it because I know that if I do, I'll spend there's like 2-3 days of the beta, right? I'll probably spend like an entire day in the salon and I won't get to experience the beta and give them the feedback. So that's like the thing. And even then, I still spend like 2 hours in the salon. So
Oh, good lord.
and like I'm here, like I'm kind of regretting wasting the beta time.
Fair enough, fair enough. The overall thoughts on the new character creator, though? All of the little extras
The
they
same,
added.
right? But it's just very much more like refined and upgraded. So I'm pretty happy, honestly.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But give just all I want is a better zoom. That's all. Give me a bigger zoom. Like that's all I care. Please.
Oh my. Fair enough, fair enough. Like, I think my only particular complaint on it was getting faces right was a bit more difficult for whatever reason.
Like the new faces.
Yeah, the new faces were a trip to get used to.
The only thing with it is that it's a very big departure from like the anime-esque style of PSO2. So it's if you approach it as more like a realistic kind of style, it's really good. Like really, really good.
Yep. If I had to say, the particular hairstyles and fidelity of the hair is really good. Yeah. It's a massive step up from polygons, yes.
Wonderful.
Massive step up from like textured polygons, good lord.
Yeah.
Alright then, in which case, let's move on to more content creator focused questions in which case. So, what's your creative process regarding videos or content? What do you go for when you do decide to make a video?
That's a very good question because I am a lot more inconsistent with videos due to the nature of like the things that I do IRL, right? Sometimes because I'm really busy because I am mostly a musician in real life.
Damn.
So I have like normally at night times I would be out playing music or like doing a lot of things, and then also in the daytime my parents run a music school, so I teach there as well.
Ooh.
So like generally my schedule is pretty tight overall, but it's been quite a bit rough with COVID as well, in that we have to do a lot of like online lessons and stuff instead. So most of the time, like I don't really have the time to sit down and like make all the videos I want to do because obligations, right? And then also want to really spend time with a lot of my friends and a lot of my family and the people that I do care about. Which is why I always say that for me, YouTubing and everything is more of a hobby rather than a job, because it's not entirely something I do as a job, but I do when I have the creativity or feel like, hey, this is very important or something like that.
Fair enough, fair enough. So when you do get around to a video, what kind of topics do you normally pick up? Like, is it news, fun stuff you find? What kind of stuff?
For me, I don't really touch too much or like try to not touch too much when it comes to news, because I feel like saying news and stuff is something that anyone can do, right? It's not something that like, oh man, this is like something that only Arcy would do. So like when I try to make video guides or like anything of the sort, I do it with a passion, and I feel like I want to do something very unique and different that other people does not do or can't do. To make a mark that, hey, this is the kind of things that I like to do, right? And then create a very like RC styled video per se. And you might see it from like a lot of the bigger projects that I do. Like, you know, all those like boss rush videos, or even like recently with like the very famous Phantom Guide that I did was such a big passion project for me that it's more of an expression than even just like, you know, making a guide for the sake of making a guide, so to say. Or at least that's how I look at it.
Because yeah, when that Phantom Guide came out, I was like, oh damn, I need to go look at this. Because most people that gave me the feedback was like, that's like the shortest 40 minutes of my life. Because that video was really long. Oh man, yeah, it is a long video, but there were always parts that I would keep just coming back to and referring to. I was like, okay, how do I go about this? How do I do this or that? I was like, wow, there is a decent bit of intricacy to this class that I did not figure to take into account at first.
Coupled with really, really good gameplay for you to see, and you like, oh wow, that's like some crazy stuff, right? Even though like the gameplay is sometimes not like all efficient, right? But it looks really cool, and that's kind of like what I go for.
And flair is important. That's part of PSO, I find, that you should be doing like cool stuff, or at least satisfying
and then
stuff.
the rest of it is really just the storytelling aspect of it. And I think it's really important because like if I were to make someone listen to a freaking 10-minute video, and you know that people nowadays have literally the attention span of like 2 seconds.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's quite the challenge, and I'm sure you as a writer yourself also experience a lot of like that kind of stuff. So it's quite the challenge. Sometimes I just sit with myself, by myself, and just be like, if I were scrolling Twitter and I saw this, like, would I be interested in that? And then like, if I'm not satisfied, sometimes I would literally just like scrap videos and stuff completely, because I know that this is not good enough for my standards. And then that's like the pain of an artist, right? Is that if you're not happy with your work, you don't want to present it.
Oh man, I do know that feeling all too well. Good lord.
Yeah, I took a little bit of perfectionism from my mom.
True. But man, balancing the entertainment industry with content creation, good lord, man.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons for at least like my inconsistencies in doing a lot of these stuff. And also, like I said, I personally, as a person, I prefer to spend time with like my close friends and everything. And not to say that I don't enjoy streaming and chatting with my like, you know, viewers and everything like that. I love that. But there's just some things that I personally value a little bit more with the little free time that I do have sometimes day to day. That's all it is.
Fair enough. So pretty much find a topic that's unique enough, find a good enough through fair, and then, alright, makes enough sense. Alright, I will have to ask though, you did mention being a musician and all. What instruments can you play, and to what kind of standard?
I do play them all, I would say, at a very professional, like recording studio level. I can play anything from the piano to doing like keyboard synths to playing all like the brass sections for violins, and like also I can do the wind instrument. I can play flute, recorder, guitar, bass, basically almost everything that you can think of. Basically everything that we offer at the music school, I can play.
Oh boy. You're a session musician.
Because it's been drilled into me since 2 years old, so...
Oh, you are a session musician, and that scares me, basically. Because, let's see, session musicians are on one side of the window. I'm usually on the other side of the window. Just being like, okay, 3, 2, 1, alright, we're recording.
Yeah.
Or 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, we're running. Oh my god.
I learned to control the studio and stuff a lot as well.
Oh man. Okay, you're extraordinarily scary on that front then.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I do have a massive amount of respect for any kind of session musician, mainly because, yeah, takes a ridiculous amount of skill to just come in, be given something and being like, okay, you gotta record this for us, or you gotta perform this for us to a reasonable standard. Or hey, we needed a guitarist this day, or hey, we needed a pianist this day. And if you're someone who's an all-in-one package, that is exceptional, pretty much.
Yeah. And well, if I had to select one thing that I do like the most personally, I love playing the guitar.
Guitar, eh? Fair enough, fair enough.
I feel the most active playing it.
If I did have to ask though, how are your vocals?
That's a very good question. I don't think I'm necessarily a bad singer, but I don't enjoy it as much.
Oh.
I enjoy expressing myself through musical things. And also, you know, one of the other things is that on a personal level, I'm really not comfortable with English as a language. You see, you might see me like talking everything like this, but like a lot behind the scenes here, I'm literally just like biting my teeth because I'm really not comfortable with English. English is literally my third language, and it's like I'm scared.
Third language? Oh my god. Wait, what are the first two then?
I and Japanese.
Ooh.
Because my family.
Damn. Okay, so the last person I had on here, which was trilingual, had the exact same combination.
Wow.
Yeah. Thai, Japanese, then English. And I was like, wait, English is your third language. You speak it pretty damn well. Likewise in your case, your English is quite nice, actually.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Because, yeah, for myself, I pretty much only speak English and can only listen to my mother tongue. I cannot speak my mother tongue to save me.
The thing with me in English is that, you know how we talked about at the very beginning that one of the things that I love so much is being able to communicate with friends and everything internationally. It's really one of the biggest motivations for me to really learn English really hard and just practice English really hard and just be, you know, as proficient as I am and stuff, I guess you can say.
Fair enough, fair enough.
It's a big motivation. Very big motivation.
It's one of those international languages, pretty much.
Sure.
Because of the two very international languages I can think of, it's English and German, pretty much. German is a case of if you ever travel to Europe, you can functionally speak with almost anyone. But at the same time, English does cover that to an extent as well. English just covers a lot of the rest of the world. And well, on the internet, English is among the more predominant languages.
Yeah.
But man, yeah. It still does leave a bit of a surprise that you are functionally a session musician and teacher. That is... Oh man, that's not what I expected coming into this, if I'm honest.
I still have a long future ahead of me, though. I'm not even that old yet.
Yeah, I figured with the timings you mentioned so far, anyhow. Because that actually does place you very close to my own age. A lot closer than I probably expected, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah.
See, most people think I'm like... And here's the thing, it's also exactly the time where you also got raided, too.
What? Wait, who'd I get raided by? Hold up a second. Christ. Give me a sec to reload this and find out. Wait, oi, Spec, you should be asleep. Go to sleep. Give me a second, I'll handle this raid and we'll get back on track then, in which case. Alright.
Hydrate. Oh no.
Hi.
No, that's perfectly okay.
Yep. Alright. Okay, what do I have to say to the fellow that just raided me just now? Spec, please go to sleep. Please stream at normal hours again. You are on the other side of the world as far as I'm concerned, and please. And Edo, let's see. If you two were with Spec, I am going to assume you're on that side of the world as well, so please go to sleep too. If not, welcome to stream, welcome to stream. Good lord. But yeah, for me, I would have considered you being a fair bit older rather than being kiddish, so I was like,
No, I am. I'm actually very kiddie.
I was like, it was a bit of a surprise.
As much as I do a lot of like professional things, honestly, at heart, I'm literally like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, because around the times I found your videos, I was like, oh, this is really nicely produced. Holy hell! And now being told that, oh yeah, you made those well quite on the younger side of things, I was like, huh, good lord.
Yeah, most of the things I do are just for fun anyway, so. I think that's not entirely a bad way of approaching things in life. Enjoying the most of what I can.
Hey. That does pretty much cover one of the other questions I was going to ask, which was, what does content creation mean to you? But if it is, yeah, just fun and whatnot, makes plenty of sense in your case, anyhow.
Yeah, very much so. And I just, want to take the time to always like spread the energy of like positivity and just like really nice, like have a good time, laugh at, because everyone, I don't know why, but like especially in the PSO community and stuff, every time I open like Twitter, Reddit, or like whatever and just see stuff, everyone's so serious,
Yeah, as it'll be with most MMO communities at times.
Yeah, so that's why like I think that's kind of like the quote unquote persona that I kind of want to present myself as, I guess. Is just a really like goofy, fun, but also really intelligent person at the same time. Like a really easily approachable person, so to say.
Fair enough.
Like, here's the thing. When PSO2 NA came out and everything, you would not believe me, but considering myself and everything, so many other content creators would literally not approach me or like, even come to talk to me because they were all scared of me. They were like, man, Arcy is like super veteran, professional, and all this stuff. And I'm like, guys, please! I didn't do anything wrong!
Oh my god, yeah, that is a case of, How does one say, Arcy, even for this interview, I was like, I'll shoot my shot, I'm not expecting anything back. The moment you responded back, I was like, what in the flying fuck? Okay, let's go. Because, yeah, that did surprise me when you responded back at all. I was like, oh, damn, alright. Okay, we're doing this. Got it.
I love fun and interesting things. I love talking to people, I love knowing people, I love spending time with people, I love everything.
Fair enough, but I don't think...
No, but like for real, I really do appreciate the time and opportunity though, of like you spending your time thinking about all this stuff and just reaching out and everything. Really, really does mean a lot, genuinely.
Thank you. But yeah, I don't think maybe 2 months ago you would have expected to be interviewed by a VTuber though. Probably not, at least.
Sounds about right.
Because yeah, I think the most interaction PSO2 had with a particular VTuber was one of the Nijisanji girls playing PSO2 often on stream and playing with her audience, but that's the most I remembered from the more mainstream crowd, at least.
Also the HoloLive side of things too.
Oh yeah, they did touch it for NGS, yeah.
Because what happened with the whole NGS, well, not just NGS, but like PSO2 in general, and Sega in general, sorry, with the HoloLive thing is like Sega, they got the licensing for HoloLivers to be able to like play and stream all the Sega games and everything. So that also includes PSO2.
Oh yeah, because there was that one part where let's see, Japanese publishers clamped down really hard on any kind of content creation, pretty much, when it came to a lot of games.
That's also Sega, Atlas is like a subsidiary of Sega itself, but...
Because yeah, it was a very, very long, extensive list of games that were no longer allowed to be streamed or played, and you would need to obtain individual rights to do so. And that was a massive blow, so to speak, to content creation, at least out of the Japanese sphere. But eventually
Very
it
much
got
so.
slowly curbed back, depending on what kind of content creator you were to begin with.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it felt, so to speak, I won't particularly complain when it comes to visual novels, because, well, if you're watching someone play through the entire visual novel, you are getting close to the same experience, unless they're voice acting a lot of it. But for any other game that's streamable, it just feels like, nah, that's massively damaging on the community, so to speak.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just a really like sensitive topic that sure they got all that through, which is really nice because I do think that in this day and age, influencers is if not the most important thing for a game, you know.
Yeah. Because yeah, having the influencers, having people play your game, it puts them in front of quite the audience as well. Case in point for, say, a recent example.
More genuine!
Case in point for the recent MMO sphere, so say Asmongold, that fella moving from World of Warcraft over to FF14, and all of the attention that brought alongside it, for instance.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I could imagine the same kind of attention would be thrown at, say, PSO, if someone of that scope were to suddenly jump over. But,
I mean,
yeah.
recently, Moist Critical has been playing NGS quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not sponsored too, by the way. So it's very genuine.
Man. Let's see, if I'm to find one particular content creator that surprised me the first time they popped up playing PSO2, that would probably be Cammy. Mainly because Cammy Cakes. Mainly because I knew that guy for Destiny 2 instead, pretty much.
Yeah, see, here's... Me and Cammy, we're actually really close friends.
Oh my.
The guy has been playing Phantasy Star since, like, Dreamcast as well.
Oh,
so he's
Christ, okay.
ecstatic about PSO2.
Okay, that particular part I didn't know.
Now you do.
Hey. But yeah, when it came to Cammy, for instance, I knew the guy mainly for Destiny 2 at first. It was like, oh yeah, Destiny PvP guy, Cammy. Moment NGS content started popping up on his channel, I was like, wait, huh? And then after that, I saw you popping up on the occasion in Cammy streams. I was like, eh? Hold up a second.
Yeah, see, like lots of people don't know this, but me and Cammy are buds. Like we talk a lot, we chat a lot, we show a lot, you know.
My God, it was rather surprising the first time I tuned in on that. I was like, wait, what the hell is going on right now? No, that's fun, because Destiny is another title I do enjoy.
Surprises.
Destiny is another title I do enjoy, somewhat because of the same kind of appeal from PSO, just the PvE aspect and whatnot. PvE aspect of it and the level of mastery you can achieve in other aspects of the game. But yeah.
Speaking of Cammy, he literally just finished streaming, by the way.
Oh God. Oh man.
The man definitely needs some sleep. I tell you that much.
Could imagine. Also, Liush, thanks for gifting a sub to the bot once again. Good lord. Bots work hard. But nonetheless, thanks for the gift sub to the bot. Alright. Let's see. Okay, so let's drag things. Alright, I think we're back on track again. Probably. Wait. Okay, we're reconnected. Kill me. Okay. Alright. Yep, seems we're back on track. Okay. Please hold strong for about 15 more minutes and we'll be done, internet. Please.
Let's try to wrap this up.
Okay, so simple question first. Do you have any particular goals for the future? This is a very standard interview question, one that I end up using a bit too often because, you know, typical job interview. 5-10 years, where do you expect to see yourself?
Goals. Honestly, I want to find a better balance between my entire like real life, work life, personal life, and also more content creation, right?
Oh yeah?
So because I feel like I always want to be able to spend more time with my viewers, my everything, and just like streaming more and doing a lot of this stuff. But sometimes, like I said, right, I prioritize personally like my personal life and work life a lot over this because this is just a hobby kind of thing. But if I could find a better balance in general, I would be ecstatic. And that's the thing on me personally as a person. Like this has nothing to do with like anyone, anything or anything, but it's just a personal me thing. If I could really bring myself to like, okay, let's set aside some time, you know, for doing some personal things, for example, like practicing music, maybe a little less so I can have more time to make more content or things like that. But I still have not been able to find that kind of balance that I'm satisfied with.
Work-life balance, eh?
Yeah, that and also the fact that, you know, I have a lot of hobbies, right? I do music, I do illustrations, I do various things. So I never felt that I could balance all those because I want to do everything.
Nah, I do know that feeling, because when I list out my hobbies as well, it's just like, yeah, I need to find 1 or 2 of these to curb down on, likely. Maybe a few more than that, but hey.
Yeah. And well, because of that, I'd end up losing myself a lot of sleep also. So
Yes, I know that feeling as
the
well.
classic,
Good
right?
lord.
The classic.
Yeah. Because, yeah, at some times I feel like I am living in a different time zone, but hey. In the middle of a lockdown, it's fine, it's fine. At least for now, Oh, Christ. That's one hell of a raid to suddenly get. Hey, Mika. Good lord. Please don't tell me this raid crashed the internet again.
You're good. I think you're good for now.
Okay, I think we're good. Christ. Alright, Mika. Were you up to what I think you were up to? Yep, still playing Apex. How does one say? The person I mentioned of being trilingual before that I had on here? Yeah. This is the one.
Oh.
Apart from that, they are currently suffering the unfortunate part of their game of choice, lowering the skill ceiling, so to speak. When it comes to Apex, I had a discussion with them at length about, well, yeah, skill ceiling falling and all of the charm of the game being removed thanks to that, but yeah, suffering the same kind of situation when it comes to PSO2 in some cases. But yeah, let's see then. So apart from goals for the future, let's see, I do have to ask though, as a musician, did you ever think of putting out more music related content then?
I initially don't, because the thing is like I want to separate work life, right, with hobby. So because a lot of my work IRL is music stuff, I kind of like don't really want to put any of that like within my like hobbies that I'm playing games and stuff. So that's not something that I ever really like thought about, but the whole Rose Confession thing that I did was a very, very special one.
Definitely did feel that way, because even for a first time like release and whatnot, it immediately felt like, oh wow, this is really good. Like, it was very much a surprise when I was like, wait, Arcy making music? Huh. I hadn't heard of that.
Trust me, a lot of people asked me for more after that.
Yeah, I would as well. There are certain themes out there which I'd be like, yeah, Arcy remix would be nice to have someday.
I'll consider. Okay, I'll consider. I'll say that much. That's all I can say. I'll consider.
Let's see. The day I hear you play mining-based defenses theme, yeah, that'd be a nice one.
Yes. Mining base sense 4, wave 3. Let's go. That right there. Chef kiss.
Yeah, the mining base themes are the ones that I do remember the most, by far. They're just a case of... when I first got into PSO2, those were probably the main things I was hearing, so I was like, damn.
For real.
Yeah, there's an organ cover out there of one of the songs from Mining Base. I'm just like, I want to try this one day, maybe when I do have an organ instead of a keyboard, but anyhow.
If only.
Alright, let's get up to the wrapping up questions then. These are rather simple, rather light-hearted questions, so to speak. They follow the same vein and are more telling of the person than functionally the rest of the interview for the most part.
Okay.
Okay, so first one is recommended drink. Any drink at all. Doesn't have to be alcoholic.
What?
Yeah, just recommend a drink.
Hold on. What? Okay. That came out of left field, but sure. There's only one drink in the world.
Oh yeah?
One.
All
Only
right.
one that matters.
Let's hear it, let's hear it.
Pocari Sweat.
Ooh, okay. Pocari Sweat. Alright, let's hear the
The
reasoning
only drink that
then.
matters. Pocari Sweat. Pocari, please sponsor me. Just saying.
Only
Okay,
drink that matters.
if you know my channel or like my brand for any extended period of time, you will know that the Pocarcy, because Pocarcy, right,
Oh god.
is a very big thing.
Oh boy.
I have a tendency to always have a Pocari bottle every single stream. And then sometimes I forget because I'm streaming and I drink it with the cap on.
Oh.
So
Oh.
that's the Pocari Arcy meme. Is Arcy drinking a Pocari with the cap on.
Oh boy, I mean, the worst I've done on stream before is accidentally drinking some paint thinner, but we don't talk about that.
Oh yeah, that sounds very painful, by the way.
Yeah, when one's hobbies involve painting miniatures as well, yeah, sometimes you get the vodka bottle mixed up with the paint thinner bottle, and, you know, that's not the most pleasant experience.
Yeah.
Alright, I will entertain a question from the chat. Are you a tuner?
Violet, I know you're there.
Ah.
That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Yep, that was Violet. Yep.
Now Violet's in we actually known each other for like at least like 10 years by this point. Crazy.
Oh boy.
We actually knew each other, quote unquote, like kind of indirectly from the first game that I played that I mentioned earlier in the interview. And then eventually we kind of met up again in PSO2, but we didn't realize that we were each other, right? Until like much later on.
Fair enough.
And then once we did, it was like, oh shit, dude, it's you! And it was like one of those like really crazy reunion moments.
I had a moment similar to that maybe a month or two ago, but in a different sense, in meeting someone in the VTubing world that I didn't expect to run into at all. Anyhow, with the first of the two wrap-up questions finished, let's move on to the latter, which is simply recommend some food.
Food?
Yep.
Oh dear. You know what? Can't go wrong with tonkatsu. Okay. If anyone here ever visits Japan, please like ride the subway to the Daimon station. Go to Tonkatsu Aoki, which is exactly at Daimon near Minato. So it's very, very. It's literally I would say the best tonkatsu place in Japan. Period.
Wow. Wow. That is massive praise for tonkatsu.
Yeah. Because the first time that like I knew about this restaurant, right, is that when I go past Daimon a lot, I always see like this line coming out from this alleyway, and I'm like, what the flying frick is like the line for? Because it's always there every single day, and I'm like, I wonder what this is. And then one day I kind of like sat on the line, and I was like, okay, I wonder where this takes me. Because it's very rude to cross lines and stuff, right? So I kind of can't really peek in. And then I realized that, oh shit, we're going in a restaurant. and I didn't know what kind of restaurant it was because it was like a beer bar and stuff like that.
Oh,
also,
izakaya kind of style, I suppose. But
yes.
Yeah.
And then on the menu they had only tonkatsu, and then it's like, would you like to have tenderloin or would you like to have sirloin? And I'm like, oh, I guess I'll have tenderloin, tonkatsu, I guess. And then that was literally the best food I've ever eaten. So.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. That is. Yeah, that is massive praise for that. Good lord.
Yeah. No. It blew every expectation I had out the water. It's amazing.
Because yeah, over here in Australia, Japanese restaurants are a 50-50 shot. You either get the decent ones or you get the chain ones, I suppose. The chain ones are particularly depressing, especially if you ever pick up their tempura. Good lord, their tempura is god awful. But yeah, it's a 50-50 shot.
Like normally I don't really visit Tokyo that often, but that the like I went there because that was like me going to the PSO2 fest in Shiba, which is near Tokyo.
Oh,
so we took a visit and stuff like that.
PSO2 fest, huh? Oh.
Yeah, PSO2 festas, they always have that like almost every year back then.
Fair enough.
It's crazy.
Fair enough. I'd imagined if we weren't in the times that we currently are, that this year's PSO2 fest probably would have been quite wild, all things considered.
100%.
Yeah.
I would even say it's probably really scary too, because like with how much unrest there is right now, it's kind of like, you know.
Yeah. Because like, yeah, even here down under, we were supposed to have a convention, or anime convention down here in like late October, actually exactly on Halloween, come to think of it. But yeah, because of the running situation, yeah, everything had to be pushed back another 6 months.
I see.
Kind of unfortunate, because I have met a fair few artists doing these interviews that I would have actually liked to have met IRL as well.
So here you go. I'll give you a picture. Also, with proof that that's my picture, there's the PSO2 thingy there.
Give me a sec. Do you want me to flash that on stream, or?
If you want to, go ahead.
Alright. Give me a second here then.
But yeah, no, that tonkatsu right there is literally the best thing I've ever eaten. Mark my words.
Mark your words. Got it. Man, that does look glorious.
Beautiful.
Alright, give me a second here. Alright. Okay. Arcy's gonna disappear for a moment to be replaced by a tonkatsu. You know, they say you are what you eat, but at the same time, if what you eat is glorious, then good lord.
Hey, that's fine by me, right?
Hey. Ah, I see, yes.
I see it on the stream.
Ship to.
Yes. They gave out like these things so you can wrap around your wrist when you walk around the festival.
Oh. Ah, that way you can meet other people from same ship and whatnot. Oh.
Yep. And then there's like pillars and stuff where there's like a signboard where you can sign your name and stuff like that.
Oh.
And you know, the people over at like Sega and stuff, they also know me. And then like when they saw that I had my name over there, they were like, wow, this person's here. And like I went to talk to like the director back then, and like, oh my god, this man was the English YouTuber. So like, yeah, the English YouTuber for PSO2, you know. I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you. But yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised that the team over at PSO2 actually knew me. So I was like, oh.
Hey, I mean, your content was among the only one there on YouTube for the longest time, so yeah. Like, leading up all the way to like, what was it? Last year, pretty much? You might have been one of the only...
When the global market splashed with PSO2 a bit.
Yeah. Like, you might have been one of the only English content creators for PSO2 for a very long time.
Or at least like, at least one that's always been consistent, right?
Yeah.
And always been there.
Because yeah, whenever I tried to get someone into the game, I'd be like, oh, here, take a look at this boss rush video, or here, take a look at this guy's video. And see if
I feel like I'm in
that
one. I mean, I feel like I'm in that position where it's like, no matter how long, no matter what happens, you will always see that Arcy is just playing PSO. Because, like I said, like for me, I don't really play that much video games or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then PSO2 I play because, well, it's something that I kind of got like dragged into and I never left. And I don't plan on leaving either. So, because if I wasn't playing games, I would just, full time, just like be a musician, be an artist, do all my stuff. And then my life wouldn't really change. But that's the extent of it, really.
Fair enough. A fella that has been wildly affected by PSO2.
In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
In a good way.
Yep, in a good way. Goes to show massive dedication anyhow. Anyhow, on that note, I suppose let's wrap up here.
Yep.
Once again, thanks for accepting the interview. It was a massive pleasure.
Likewise. And like I say, like, it's something that I really personally appreciate. Like I'm not opposed to getting to know people and just really sitting down and just having a good time with someone. Like it's something I personally really appreciate as a person. And as someone who works in the media and stuff like that, right? I always love meeting new people because it always means new ideas, new avenues, new everything. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Alright, in which case, I'll take us to an ending screen and find someone to raid. Actually, I do have someone in mind, another crazy creative out there. Let's see, a fellow that goes by the name of Lightheart, another VTuber, mainly working on a webtoon series and plays a lot of music actually. In fact, I think 90% of his streams are just him singing along with a guitar.
Nice.
Anyhow, seems rather suitable having a musician anyhow, so here we go then.